Welcome to another video. I did a video recently about upgrading or side grading my Swiss Army knife, and basically the video was talking about moving to this, which is the Victorinox Camper 91mm Swiss Army knife. This has been very useful, but as I was explaining in the video, I don't carry this every day. This is my sort of second carry, as it were. My day-to-day carry is actually this Leatherman Style PS, and I literally carry that every day in my pocket. It's always there. It's pretty light, 45 grams. Sometimes I forget it's there. I have to check my pocket to make sure that I have managed to put it in for that day, and I wouldn't be without this. It has all the tools I need in a very compact package. The comments to the camper video, though, suggested I should look at some other things as well. Somebody in particular was quite keen for me to look at the Boca Tech tools, which I have done online, but I have done in person because I don't have anybody around me that retails them. So I haven't been able to look at those. People have been very positive about Alox handles on their Swiss Army knives as well, which I've never considered. I've always presumed that they would feel cold in the winter, so I've always gone for the traditional red handles. But I'm kind of going to challenge myself to see if I can find a replacement for my little Leatherman here from the Swiss Army knife range. So what am I looking for? Well, the main things that I use this for are the scissors. They're not big, but they are sharp. I mostly use them as box opening tool rather than for cutting anything. I certainly wouldn't cut paper with them really, but they're great for cutting small bits of material if you've got a thread loose in your clothing. They're great for box opening, as I say. And then the other tool that I use an awful lot on here is the tip of the nail file, which is actually a very small screwdriver. I use that a lot for tightening up little screws and sometimes even big screws. If you what you can do is you can use the side of the blade here for opening kind of bigger flathead screws. That often works. And then if push comes to shove, you can always grab it with the pliers. I recently actually even did some gardening with the wire cutter that's in the pliers. I did cut some little twigs with those to get them out of the way. And the other thing I use a lot is the bottle opener. It always feels a little bit like I'm going to break it, I have to say, but it has never failed. It has always opened bottles and hasn't bent or anything. So a blade, the flathead screwdriver, and the bottle opener are the three things that I use most of all. So what we're going to do today is see if we can find an equivalent to this in the Swiss Army knife range and see how much it is. So what we're going to do is go to the official Victorinox website, at least the UK version of it, and I'm going to look for a knife. So we're going to go Swiss Army knives, and we're going to look at categories because we want a small one, so we're going for the small pocket knives because I want it to be about the same size as this. Now, so the tools that are most useful for me, as I said, are the bottle opener. So let's start with that. 10. So there's 39 knives it's suggested in this size category. Only 10 of those have a bottle opener, so let's find out which 10 they are. All right, so there's a combination of different types of tool there. There's two with Alox handles. Several of them have lots and lots of tools, it appears. Some of them have USB sticks, interesting. This one's got a light, maybe useful, although I usually use my phone for that. The problem I see with the USB is that looking at the photo, it's only 32 gigs, and also I don't know how fast it is, or you know, how useful a USB stick it is. 32 gigs is a bit limiting for what I tend to use USB sticks for. But I note it has got a USB-C and a USB-A connector on it, so that's quite modern. So this is the bottle opener by the looks of it. So the other thing that I definitely want is tweezers and a flat head blade, flathead screwdriver. So do we have those as options? Screwdriver 2.5mm, so 8 of those 10 have screwdrivers. Let's put them in price order because I don't want to spend a huge amount of money. So we'll put the price highest first just to exclude those. So £100 for the USB with a light. Sounds a bit steep to me. I carry USB sticks anyway, and I've always got my phone for a torch, so I think that's unnecessary. I don't want loads and loads of tools. Price wise, let's go the other way around, lowest to highest. So £13 for the basic one. That's pretty good value, isn't it? £13 for a tool. So that looks like it's got the knife opener, Phillips head screwdriver, nail file with small thing, and a blade. No scissors, but it does look like it comes with a toothpick. Tweezers. And then the next one up, the Rambler, seems very similar, except it adds a pair of scissors. And the scissors have been useful. Definitely. The Manager, though, for the same price, almost exactly, includes a pen. Now, I've never had a pen on my Swiss Army knives. I know you can get the Pro covers for them, which includes a slot for a pen. And I have considered upgrading a previous Swiss Army knife. If you've seen any videos online, there's plenty of videos about how to upgrade the scales on your Swiss Army knife. But this one's got a pen built in. So the Rambler looks good, but the Manager looks slightly better value because it's got the same tools on, but has got a pen in it. Next up, the Mini Champ. That looks a little bit overwhelming. There are plenty of things on there that I don't need. I don't need a ruler. I don't need a cuticle pusher. I'm not sure what that is. It could be a box opener, but it's an extra £10. Looks a lot more bulky. So looks like I'm going to choose the Manager. What I'm trading there is I'm getting a single blade instead of a pair of pliers. So am I going to miss the pliers? That is the question. Okay, so it looks like we're going to buy the Manager. I have already checked locally. There's nobody that sells that retail where I can go and buy it. So Taunton Leisure don't have it, Cotswold Outdoor don't have it. I haven't checked Go Outdoors actually. But I see it's available for £26 here on the official Victorinox website, so I may just buy it from them. So a knife isn't available on Go Outdoors. On Victorinox official website, delivery's £5, which is a little bit expensive. I thought for one item, if you're buying a lot of things, that probably makes sense. But for one item, probably didn't. So I'm just quickly going to try on Amazon, see if they have it at all. So they do have it. It is slightly more expensive than the base price at the Victorinox official store, but the delivery is free, so it actually works out £3 cheaper overall. So I'll get it from there. In the absence, I'll be able to try and buy it locally, and then I'll be trying it for a few weeks, comparing it with my Leatherman, and we'll see if there is a winner. Get back to you soon. So here we are the following day. Parcel has arrived from Amazon. In the UK, bladed items have to be signed for, not so much signed for, but you have to have proof of ID and age when Amazon deliver. So just be aware of that. So, little Victorinox case, typical silver for Victorinox. So opens up like a box of matches, which is interesting. Inside is 2 bits of paper which instructions for the different tools. Then you've got the knife itself. Let's see if that focuses in. There we are. So it's a little bit smaller than the Leatherman and feels a little bit lighter than Leatherman. Let's find out exactly how small and light. So it is 59mm long, supposed to be 58mm long, so that makes sense. And the website says it's 31 grams in weight. My scales put it at 31 exactly, so perfect. Compare that to the Leatherman, which is 75mm long and 45 grams in weight, so it's about 2/3 the size and about 2/3 the weight, which kind of makes sense. Interestingly, in the box there's also a toothpick to replace. So there's only one, unlike the bigger knives, there's only one little accessory holder, and that comes with pliers, tweezers in place. But in the box there is a complimentary toothpick if you'd rather use that in that accessory slot. The little pen, they don't show this on the website, but the little pen protrudes from the side. It's not a removable pen like it is on the bigger knives. There's actually a small handle for it, which hopefully will just come into focus in a second now. There you go. So there's a grey slider to make the pen extend rather than the pen being removable. Yeah, it's actually quite a nice little size for that. So as long as the pen stays out and doesn't retract accidentally, I think that will be quite a useful addition, something my Leatherman doesn't have. So I'm going to be using this for 2 weeks as my everyday carry instead of my Leatherman, and we'll see at the end of that whether I prefer this or whether I prefer my Leatherman. I'm trading down in the sense I'm getting something smaller and lighter, and I'm going to be missing a pair of pliers, so it's be interesting to see how much I do miss that compared to my Leatherman. But I'll report back in 2 weeks' time. So a couple of weeks ago I challenged myself to use a Swiss Army knife Victorinox Manager, see if I could use that as my daily carry instead of my usual Leatherman Style PS. Originally the plan was to use it for 2 weeks and see how I got on. I've ended up doing 4 weeks as an extended trial for a couple of reasons, and I'll tell you what those are in a bit. But overall I've been very happy with the Swiss Army knife. The makeup of the tools are very similar between the two. As I said, the main difference I said in the introduction was that I've traded this knife for a instead of pliers. So having a cutting blade, has that been more useful? No, is the short answer. The blade has been useful. I've been using it a lot for all sorts of things. I've been even done a little bit of gardening with it. I've opened packages with it. I was doing that before with the scissor part of the sharp part of the scissors, but having the knife there is just a little bit more convenient. It is extremely sharp. It is very good. It has picked up a bit of sort of tape adhesive as I've gone along, so it's nearly cleaning a couple of times, but I've not had any problems with that. So the knife has been very useful, but I do miss the pliers. I have used the pliers on occasion and I've missed them in the last 4 weeks, but it is what it is. Another problem I've had with this tool is the bottle opener, and the main problem with that is it's been too thick. The width of this blade here has been a little bit too big to fit in some bottle caps, weirdly. The fact that it's very wide is very good. It means it's very strong and it's very stiff. So I've had no problems with that. It's just it doesn't quite fit into the bottle caps, whereas this kind of covers the whole of the bottle cap on one side. It's just a little bit more easy to open a bottle with this, even though it feels a little bit more flimsy in a way. The small Phillips screwdriver on the end of the bottle opener has been really useful. I have used that on multiple occasions in the last 4 weeks, so that's good. But that does bring me to another minus, and this was the reason I extended the trial is because on the first day this failed me. It didn't fail in the sense it stopped working or broke. It failed because the small screwdriver at the top of the nail file is too big to tighten spectacled screws. It's a little bit bigger than the equivalent blade on the Leatherman, as you can see. Right, it's not very much in it, but that was enough to mean that I couldn't tighten up any spectacles with this tool, which is one of the things I use a multi-tool for a lot. So that's one of the reasons why I carried on using it 4 weeks rather than 2, to see if there were any other features of the Swiss Army knife that meant I wouldn't revert back to my style. So there you have it, the little screwdriver, a little bit too big for spectacles. The other tool that's on here that I thought I was going to use a lot was the pen. Weirdly, despite having to write almost daily, I haven't used the pen on any single occasion. That really surprised me. I thought I was going to use it a lot. The reason for that is mainly because I have access to other pens, and bigger pens are just easier to handle, so it kind of made sense for me to use other pens, but I was surprised I didn't use it a single time. That was a little bit of a surprise. I have used the tweezers. They're fine. All multi-tool tweezers suffer from the same problem, and that is that the ends of the blades are too sharp, and you can accidentally cut the thing that you're trying to remove with a tweezer rather than tease it out. So, but all small tweezers suffer from that I found in multi-tools. The tweezers on the Swiss Army knife are at least as good as the ones on the Leatherman, but they both suffer from the same problem. Overall, how has this fared? Pretty good. There are some scratches on the leaves, on the scales I should say. Nothing very significant. It's just it's been in my pocket for 4 weeks, and you can tell it's come up against the edge of a wallet and keys, so it has marked a little bit. I would say my Leatherman, that's been in my pocket for several years, and that probably looks as good now as when I bought it. So I think in terms of physical appearance, I think the Leatherman wins because it has no plastic components on the outside, and that has shown the scratching a little bit. Doesn't bother me, and it doesn't affect the function, of course. In terms of the size, it's brilliant. It's very, very small, very light, smaller and lighter than my Leatherman. Occasionally I've had to check it's in my pocket because it's so insignificant. So from an everyday carry point of view, it's really, really good from that point of view. And if I was in need of a knife more than I was in need of a pair of pliers, I would definitely be using this as my everyday carry. But at the end of 4 weeks, I am going to go back to my Leatherman style. It's just a little bit more flexible. It is a little bit bigger and a little bit heavier, but it's just a little bit more suited for my use case. But at the end of the day, both of these tools are excellent. They're good for what they do. They're also reasonably good value for money. These kind of everyday carriers are kind of the hot hatches of the multi-tool world. They're small, they're compact, they do exactly what they're supposed to do. There's nothing superfluous. So they are very, very good tools, both of them, but I will be going back to my Leatherman style. So hope that was useful for you. If you want to buy either of them, don't hesitate, they're both really good, but for me, I'm going back to Leatherman. If you found the review useful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment below, see if there are any other tools that I should be using instead of these two.